Hello, everybody. Have you ever had questions about God, about the Bible, about church, about life itself, and just didn't feel that you had a safe place to ask those questions? I think most of us grew up with lots of questions, but many of us rarely had opportunities to ask questions of those who were teaching us. I believe it can even be said that we were scared to ask those questions. We were taught to believe what the Bible meant according to somebody else's interpretation and what God expected based on somebody else's opinion. But sometimes, I'm sure if you're like me, you had questions. Because we were also taught to believe that we shouldn't question God and we should never question our faith. But I've come to believe something. Questions aren't the enemy of our faith. They are the friend of our spiritual growth. And that's why I'm introducing something new to my YouTube channel, this Withinspiration network. Q&A at the well. You ask, we talk, we grow. Here's how it's going to work. Throughout the week, I want you to send me your questions. They can be questions about anything regarding faith, God, grace, the Bible, church, spirituality, purpose, relationships, about life itself. Or maybe there's just something you've been carrying around for years that you just didn't feel comfortable asking anybody. I want you to send that question to my email, BennettIam5@gmail.com. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a few of them, and I am going to share what I believe the answer is, according to what comes from within me, on my Sunday live broadcast on YouTube. But let me tell you, I'm not claiming to have all the answers. This isn't about me trying to prove somebody else wrong and prove me right. I just want to create a space that I believe that we all need, that we can feel free to ask spiritual questions that provoke spiritual growth. Honest questions that lead to honest conversation. You may agree with some of my answers. You may disagree with some of my answers. We can agree to disagree, but we can still spiritually grow together. Because sometimes spiritual growth doesn't happen when you have all the answers. It happens because someone has made you think. When you send your email, you can remain anonymous. But I will say it excites me that we may have conversation based on questions from people from anywhere, literally in the world. Different backgrounds, different perspectives, different experiences, yet we all come together to try to figure this thing called life out, to learn, to listen, to grow, to inspire one another. Because here's what I believe. The question that you have been afraid to ask may be the same question that someone has wrestled with for many years. So go ahead and send it to me, and let's work this out together. And then join me Sunday on YouTube Live, where you ask, but we all talk and we all grow together.